Welcome back, everyone. Crowon here again. We're going to go ahead and tackle our UCE UI accelerators. So we're going to go ahead and import to get it imported. UI accelerator and import that. Now this one has quite a few core changes. I'm going to show you the relatively easy way to go through them all. But it does require you to use Visual Studio to make it simple. If you don't, it's not going to be as simple, unfortunately, unless there's the same kind of feature in whatever software you're using. So we're going to go and open up our README. And then you'll see in here we have only 2 core changes, but it's to all UI. Now, it's not all UI because not all of them actually have this or benefit from it, but it's easier to list all when it's at least 90% of them. So we're going to go into scripts and under UI, and I'm going to go through them all here so you can see which ones we actually need to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and start selecting them, and we're just going to hold control and click on them. So the only ones that you really are going to be doing are ones that are visually always showing, or just ones that actually benefit. There's a couple like Minimap that just don't benefit from it because of the way it's designed. So we'll do buffs, cast bar. Character creation, selection don't matter because they're not really part of the game. They're in their own area, so we're not going to do it in there because it's just going to be a little wonky and you're probably not going to adjust them. You can do chat, confirmation, crafting. Slots you're not going to do because they don't have this functionality. So drag and drop you're going to leave alone. Others you're going to have some really funky issues with that. Experience bar, guild invite, health and mana. Mouse over you're going to leave alone. Inventory, item mall. Keep in screen, latency, you're going to leave alone. Login, leave alone. Loot, minimap, once said leave alone as well. Dialogue, all of these but the slots. And then your party invites, your pet, your quests and your trading. Pop-up, you're going to leave alone. Portrait, you can do quests. Respawn, shortcuts. Tooltip, leave out of it. Skill bar, skills, and target. And we're going to not touch utility or window. So when you have all these selected, we're going to hit enter and it's going to open them all up into Visual Studio. It'll take it a hot second to open them all. Alright, and now we need to make the 2 changes. We need to change model behavior in every one of these to UCE UI elements. And then we got to change this update to update slow update. So to do that, we're going to select model behavior here by double clicking. It's going to highlight it. We're going to hold control and hit H, and it's going to give us a replace tool. And in here, where it says current document, click on that, drop down, and go to all open documents. And then on our README, you can copy that blue text, paste that in, and now just hit this one for replace all or hit Alt A. And it's going to go through every one of these and replace it, which is 32 and we have open. And then you can hold Control Shift and hit S, and it will save them all. Now we'll come down to update here. We'll highlight that whole thing. Click Control H, pop that open again. Grab our blue section and paste that in, and then hit Replace All. And there you go. Save that out again. Voila! They are all now changed without as minimal effort as we can get it. I'm just going to close them all since we don't need them now. Minimize that. Come back here. Let it compile. The reason I saved earlier was so it could start compiling to save us time. So, and collapse all that, and there we go. Now, all that really did, like you don't see any great changes, but if you come into our canvas here and we drop that down, you'll notice when you come in, like click on experience bar, now these all have a UCE UI element and they have a throttle update. And then the interval. So if you uncheck the throttle, it'll just update the way it used to. It'll just continuously update every frame. Or you can leave it on and you can set how frequently it's going to update, and this is in seconds. So instead of having it consistently hammering away at your system to keep these UI elements updated, and because every one of these, mind you, runs every frame is how it's designed with the default uMMORPG, and some of them you don't need them to update every frame. Like maybe you'll leave your health updating every frame if you want. Sometimes it's great, but not always necessary. I mean, you could probably get away with like 0.1 milliseconds or 0.2 milliseconds like we have here and not even notice the difference. But some of these, you may not need them to be updating so consistently all the time. Like shortcuts, does this really need to update every frame? Not really. All it is the bottom buttons, and they don't exactly change. So why does it need to be redrawn every frame is unknown, and I honestly would just put this way up. Like, if you're concerned about it, you can leave it down here. But as far as I know, this has no other bearing for redrawing purposes. It shouldn't need to redraw. You have your inventory. You might want to have that one a little bit lower, but it doesn't need to be crazy low because we left drag and drop out of it. And that is usually where you would notice the change. So we're going to go in here, we're going to hit play, and we're going to leave these the way they are other than the shortcuts. You can tailor each one to your liking. It takes time, really. But that gives some FPS back. Remember before we were sitting at that FPS of 30 to 20 area? Well, now we're back up to 100. Like, that is a crazy difference. Now this says 100. Now you go down here and this says 60. It's still a crazy increase in the amount of frames we were losing for no reason. So we got that back. Now, see, like, this still works. It's just not redrawing it over and over and over again so fast that you don't see it. So now, like, inventory. Okay, we'll go back into our inventory here. And we're like, okay, well, can I drag and drop? Well, yeah, dragging we didn't include. So it doesn't matter. It still works. Skills and stuff are all the same way. You can still drag out of them if you have a skill. It's not going to affect it any. It's just how many times this is going to redraw. So if like I learn a skill, that may take a second to learn, or in this case 0.25 milliseconds, which is very quick. Most people aren't even going to notice. Don't yell at me. All right. So it's super simple. Even for our clicking, that's really quick. You see a slight delay if I'm really jumping between them, but it's not crazy. And if you're really concerned about it, like I said, you can easily go in there and alter it and not worry about it. So that is literally it. Go through, tailor these to your liking, and set them up the way it feels best. All right, I'll catch you in the next one. Welcome back, everyone. Crowon here again, and we're going to tackle UCE Simple MPC Audio today. So let's go ahead and get that imported into our project. Import. Now keep in mind, I did include an audio clip in this. It is literally just recording of myself. It's nothing fantastic, nothing great. You are allowed to use it though if you would like in your project. I have absolutely no problem with that. So let's go ahead and open up that README. Alright, and in here we only have two minor core changes. So let's go ahead and get into scripts, UI, and it's going to be in UI dialog, MPC dialog, which is right there. Open that up, and let's go ahead and find where we need to go, which one is going to be here and one is right here. The first one is the bottom part. So copy out that blue text and paste it in, and then go to the next step and copy that blue text, and it's going to go right there. Paste it in, save that. You can go and minimize that out of the way, let it compile again. Alright, so I'm going to collapse all this to get it on my way. I have an audio clip in here that I created. We can go ahead and just quickly play that and make sure we can hear it. So I gotta... Well, hello, adventurer. All right, so that came through fine. So let's go ahead and go to our alchemist, and on him, we're gonna bring that back down, and we're gonna have to find our new section. I believe it's near the top, isn't it? Which no, here it is. That's for some reason it's on our text message. Mesh is I can't talk today. Under interact audio, I'll go ahead and I'll add a header above this to make this stand out better, and it'll just be MPC audio. And in here we have the interact. So let's move hello adventure to interact audio. We want it to say it when we talk to our NPC. And then the other thing I noticed with what's set up standard here in uMMORPG is this is going to be really quiet when you start. And so we're going to scroll down, we're going to go to audio source. And the reason for this, the volume's at half, which not always a bad thing, doesn't blow your ears out. But other thing is we have spatial blend on 3D. Now this is a great feature in Unity by far. It lets you use these 3D settings, which essentially what that does is wherever your audio listener is, which is usually your camera, it will play the song and have the sound effect and have a drop off based on distance. And you can manually set distance and use different algorithms and so on in here, which is fantastic. So you can kind of get a gauge of how far away was a gunshot in a game, or footsteps and so on. Fantastic on that end. But for what we're doing with this perspective, we're top down and we're looking at the scene. So if we use this setup, everything's super quiet because our camera's nowhere near the audio that's being played. So I change this down to 0, and then I put the volume back up to 1. And there you go. Now these volumes will be controlled. If you happen to use like our settings add-on, it will actually have volume control in there, which you can have all this mess with in that point. Alright, so we got that set up now on our Alchemist. So let's go ahead and hit play. We're going to go ahead, pick our player, and we'll go up to our Alchemist and it's, well, hello, adventurer. There you go. So I interact with him. He immediately talks to me and says hello. Well, hello, adventurer. Fantastic. So I can easily have any type of introduction you want on interaction here with any NPC. Like this will be on every NPC there is, so you can have whatever introductions you want. And then the quest one is pretty simple. When you come in and well, hello, adventurer, you go to quests, it's going to play it when you go into here. So if you want to ask for help on something or anything like that, that's a perfect place to drop that. And that is it for simple NPC audio. I'll catch you in the next one.